Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. And we're ready to go. We're ready to dig into it. We got a lot of news to cover, a lot of things to get into. Salute Sugar Ray, Chin Smoke, Richard, Miguel, Pinhead. Salute everybody. Once again, it's your landlord, the IBFP. And we're ready to just, roast some fanboys, tell the truth, and break down some actual facts, some actual news. This is the IBFP News Live, the IBFP Raw News Live, actually. And we're just going to break it down because you know what's happening? There's a lot of myths and things going on. And we're just going to be real about what's happening. We're going to be honest about it. And these guys don't want to tell the truth. So we're going to tell the truth. We're going to keep it real. If you're in here and you support the IBFP, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and smash that like button and support the IBFP. Show the IBFP that you're a part of the movement. Go ahead and hit the like button. Everybody coming in, we're about to just go live, go raw, and just break it all the way down. We got a lot of news topics to cover. One of the things that we got to cover is, Canelo Alvarez, basically vacated his WBO belt at 175 pounds. We have, Dillian Whyte and Andy Ruiz Jr., a fight that everybody wants to see. That'll be a fantastic fight. Then you also have Anthony Joshua sparring with Tyson Fury in preparation for Deontay Wilder. So there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to go over. You even have Demetrius Andrade going out and trying to go into Canelo Alvarez by saying, if he's boring, then why'd you fight, Rocky Fielding? So we got to just get past all the bias and narratives. We just got to get past all of it because these guys don't want the absolute truth. We got to do it. And we also got to touch on one more thing. All this Terence Crawford hate. There's a lot of hate going on. A lot of people talking about Terence Crawford is trash. He's no longer a good fighter. All these guys that just run through Terence Bud Crawford. And this is my message to all the fanboys out here that seem to think that Terence Bud Crawford is trash. And here's my message. You're absolutely stupid. And because you have to be a complete idiot to think that Terence Bud Crawford is not an elite level fighter, not a pound for pound fighter, none of those things, because he got hit with a good shot against a top 10 fighter and a two-time Olympian when he was trying to brawl. You're an idiot. This is what Terence Crawford was doing to be exciting, to be entertaining. How do we know this? It's because he's shown us different styles against different and better competition. We've seen Terence Crawford do more. We've seen him. We've seen what Terence Crawford can do. So anybody hating on Terence Crawford don't know nothing about boxing. Salute to D. Jefferson. Speak your mind, Sports Talk. If you ain't subscribed, go subscribe. This one of the realest brothers. And for the love of sports,
let's talk about
it. D, we got a lot of news to cover, my brother.
Woo, do we? Man. And the fanboys are already on the prowl. I done seen the silliest shit out already. The silliest stuff, sorry. I done seen the silliest stuff out already, bro.
Hold on, Dean. We got Big L, and they call him Big L because that's all he holds is an L every time he tries to debate me. Because everything he says is fanboy nonsense and rhetoric. And and this time I'm gonna prove how he idiot. He said you're stupid when you put Canelo over Bud Crawford. Here's the thing. I think Bud Crawford's an elite fighter. I had him number one pound for pound before I had Canelo. So if I'm biased, what does that make sense? I had him over Canelo at first. Now I have Canelo over Crawford. Why? Because Canelo's resume is miles ahead of Bud Crawford. How can you even say when Bud is fighting Mean Machine and Jose Benavidez? I think they're quality fighters, but they're not the best of the best. For him to get above Canelo, he has to go out there and knock out Errol Spence, Sean Porter. He has to beat those welterweights. It's not his fault he's not getting the fights. But you got to be stupid, Big L. Hold your L. D, talk to this casual, man.
Yeah, man. You're not making no sense. And I second that motion with Nuke. And everybody knows I'm a Spence fan, yet I still had Crawford number one pound for pound before Canelo beat Kovalev. I don't understand how you say this man is stupid when he puts Canelo over Bud Crawford. Now, let me explain something to you because that's a casual statement right there, Big L. No offense to you, but that's real casual. If you have two guys on the pound for pound list and you're talking about one at 147, the other guy that just took a 175 pound championship, how do you say it's stupid to put him up? See, this is not a scenario where you have a lesser fighter at the bigger weight and a great elite fighter at the smaller weight coming up. No, both of these guys are elite. So when their weight classes for a reason. So when you take an elite fighter up, not one, not two, not three, but basically 4 weight classes, because right now that's the difference. Bro, you're stupid. And you're stupid to even make that comment, because you're supposed to put Canelo over Bud Crawford. Canelo stops Bud Crawford. And for anybody who don't understand that, you need to reevaluate the situation.
And I think Bud Crawford is the best welterweight, in my opinion. I think he has top level skill for skill. He's right there with Canelo, but the size and the power is just too much. It's just too much, bro. Like if we're gonna get into fanboying, or we're gonna talk boxing. It's too much, bro. It comes to a point where it's too much. He just can't. And 154 is a stretch for Bud. He just moved up from 140. I even think 154 against some of those big guys, that might be a problem for Bud. The size might be too much. Right. No one's telling Floyd he should fight Triple G. That's stupid. It's just the size is too much. Floyd would outskill Triple G all day. It wouldn't even be close. But if Triple G caught him clean, it's over. Right. It's over. Because we've seen Mosley rock Floyd. We've seen it. These guys don't want the truth.
Right. And then they got to understand this too. The way Crawford boxes around everyone and, makes them look like the lesser of the opponent. Well, this is Canelo you're talking about. Who boxes around Canelo and makes him look like the lesser opponent? This is one of the most defensively responsible guys in boxing right now. So all of those things that Crawford's able to pull off against these other fighters, do you really think he's going to be able to just pull that off against Canelo? Canelo fought Floyd. Let's not forget. Now, all of you haters that's saying this, do you put Crawford over Floyd, over that skill level? No, you don't. That's who Canelo learned from. That's who Canelo fought and did pretty well. Of course, Floyd was supposed to whoop him because he was younger, but he took from that fight. He learned from that fight. And Crawford just don't cut the mustard when you talk about going up to that level. It doesn't. Come on, man. It makes no sense.
These guys are crazy, D. Let's dig into the news. The first part of the news is Canelo Alvarez vacated his WBO 175-pound title. And I've already heard on several comments, people even hit me on social media. And the first thing that they told me, D, you won't even believe this. The first thing that they told me is that Canelo Alvarez is vacating the belt is because he's scared to fight Dimitri Bivol, because he's scared to fight Archer Better BF. And let me explain to all you casual fanboys, Canelo Alvarez never once said he was going to campaign at 175 pounds. He simply said he was going to take a one-off fight with Sergey Kovalev. He's not a 175-pound fighter. You can't be this stupid. He's only fighting for one great fight to really boost his resume and his legacy. He wasn't trying to clean out the division of 175. He fights at 160. Even 168 should be commendable. These guys have massive height and reach and size advantage over him. These guys can't be this stupid, D.
I think they are that stupid, Duke. And, not only are they that stupid, but they must be hard of hearing. Because me and Nuke said this after the fight, bro. Why y'all even talking about this? The man is not campaigning at 175. So not only are they stupid, they're hard of hearing. Listen, it gets even deeper than that. So for all of you idiots that's just commenting on what Canelo's doing here, let's take a look at some of the facts, because I dug in as soon as I heard this report. Well, not only did he relinquish that 175-pound title, but he relinquished that 175-pound title with understanding and basically a deal with the WBO. Now, the deal was that he will be able to automatically become the mandatory in any class he chooses for the WBO. Now, let's make some sense of this. I just put a video out about this, and I had to put a correction because I said Callum Smith, not really doing the full research. I was excited to put the video out. Billy Joe Saunders is the WBO champion, guys. Okay? Now, it makes all sense in the world for Canelo to ease his way back down to 160 instead of just trying to jump back down there because he put on all of that weight and muscle at 175. What makes better sense than for Canelo to go fight BJS for yet another title in another weight class in the UK? Think about it.
Now listen to this. Here's an interesting part that all these fanboys miss. Now Canelo Alvarez vacating his belt at 175, and Billy Joe Saunders recently just tweeted out, "Canelo, let's go." So he's expecting the fight. It's been rumored that Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders are most likely to happen, or Callum Smith. But there's something that people are forgetting. Michael Montero did an interview with Eddie Reynoso, and this is what Eddie said. Eddie said Canelo Alvarez will fight two of these opponents in 2020. Triple G, Jamal Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, or Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. And this is what people are missing. He's mentioning Demetrius Andrade. People are acting like he's scared of this guy. They were a week away from finalizing the deal between Canelo and Demetrius Andrade back before he fought Sergey Kovalev. And see, that's the narrative that they're going to push, D. And these the Thanos when it comes to debunking narrative. And I'm just going to back him up on this because here's the narrative. If Canelo Alvarez fights Billy Joe Saunders, he's ducking Boo Boo Andrade. If he fights Callum Smith, he's ducking Billy Joe Saunders. No matter who you fight, if he decides to jump all the way down to 160 and skip 168 and fight Demetrius Andrade, then the first thing he's going to say is, "Oh, you're ducking Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith." It doesn't matter who he fights. They're going to say he's ducking somebody. These guys don't want the truth. These guys don't want the facts. The fact is, it makes sense to Canelo Alvarez to go down since he'd be the #1 rated mandatory for the WBO at 168, fight Billy Joe Saunders, snatch that belt, and then vacate, move on, and go get Demetrius Andrade's 160 WBO belt. Just hit the WBO in every single weight classes from 175, 168, and 160. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's the facts.
That is called being a champion. That is called building your legacy. That is called getting the bag. You know why else? Because the last fight that Nuke just mentioned, both on the network that's doing the most right now, the Zone. That's what's gonna happen, bro. Like, y'all gotta pay attention instead of being so full of hate and not accepting these champions. My God, I have been called, and Nuke knows this is not the truth, but I have been called an AJ fanboy. Get it, Nuke? An AJ fanboy about 100 times over the past 3 days. Only if they knew. Me, Nuke, an AJ fanboy. This is how ignorant these guys are out here.
Because these guys don't want the truth, D. These guys don't want the truth.
Oh my gosh, man. As many times as you and I went back and forth about AJ, now I'm the AJ fanboy.
And here's the thing. If Canelo Alvarez fights Demetrius Andrade, Canelo likes to do things that are greatness personifying. Because if he fights Billy Joe Saunders, and you got to think about it, it's all 2020. So he's going to fight two of these guys. The odds are he's not going to fight two British fighters in the same year. And the odds are he's going to need to fight an American. The odds also are if the Triple G fight is getting stale or Triple G loses, because you've seen Triple G in trouble against Deverenchenko. If Triple G loses, because he's going to have to take another fight, it makes perfect sense for Canelo to fight Jamal Charlo or Demetrius Andrade, the two guys everybody pinning all their hopes to, the guys that are saying, oh, everybody's ducking. Canelo Alvarez wants the Demetrius Andrade smoke. He wants the Jamal Charlo smoke because he just wants to put that to bed. This is what his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, said. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I believe. It's not how I feel. Those are facts. Those are facts. These guys don't want the truth. Canelo wants all the smoke. All the smoke. And he's going to fight at least two of these guys this year. At least two.
Right. And nobody's worried about y'all tune up Charlo. I like that, Nick. Tune up Charlo. Because here's the thing. No matter who he fights, he's ducking Charlo, which I really don't get, because all of the opponents that he's pretty much fought and talking about fighting, everybody with exception to Rocky Fielding will beat the hell out of Jamal Charlo. And y'all can't even deny that, bro. They'll beat the hell out of him. I believe BJS beat the hell out of Canelo. I believe Andre would. Not Canelo, but Charlo. I believe Andre, I wouldn't say beat the hell out of him, but he beats Charlo. So you cannot continue to say that he's ducking Charlo to face better opponents for belts. Are you guys absolutely retarded or what? Charlo doesn't do anything but clout chase. He talks about fighting, going up to 168 and fighting Benavidez. Do y'all really think he's going to do that? The dude just fought freaking Korobov, Adams, and Hogan. You think he's really going to take the chance? He's ducking Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs ran up on him in the hallway. Still no Jacobs fight. And y'all really think that he would step up? He ain't stepped up his whole damn career. That's the problem with the Charlos. They don't step up. That's the problem. Now all of a sudden he's gonna step up and fight a dangerous Benavidez. Are y'all retarded or something?
Hold on. And let me body this false narrative right here. I'm seeing a lot of false narrative from Punch Quote's my guy, but sometimes Punch Quote get carried away, and so does Big L get carried away with this Demetrius Andre love saying, everybody's scared of Demetrius Andre. Nobody will fight Demetrius Andre. So let's just rewind the clock. We forget that Demetrius Andre completely and utterly ducked Erislandy Lara back at 154 when he said that he didn't want to fight him because he wanted to box on the outside. He didn't want to make it exciting. He didn't want to stand toe-to-toe. So what are we talking about? If that sounds like a duck, if I've ever heard one, but yet Canelo fought that style. And here's a problem. They say, well, there was no reason why Canelo wouldn't have fought Demetrius Andre recently because they had all the belts between the two of them. Here's the problem with that, D. Let me explain you the problem with that. Here's the problem. Would Canelo Alvarez be considered number one pound for pound if he would have beat Demetrius Andre instead of Sergey Kovalev? No. No one would have given him credit. They would have said the first thing they would have said is, who is Demetrius Andre beat? Who is Demetrius Andre beat? That would have been the first excuse. They say he's never had a fight like this, so how can you expect that to mean anything?
Right.
But that's it.
And I'll keep it 100. If he'd have went there and beat Charlo, I wouldn't have moved him over Bud Crawford. I definitely wouldn't have moved him over Bud Crawford for beating Charlo because that is only an accomplishment to you Charlo fanboys. Beating up Charlo is saying nothing because who has Charlo beat? He's only beaten J-Rock and that's it, bro. Like, who cares? But going up 2 weight classes and beating a champion, not just a fighter, a champion, that says something. That says something.
And these guys don't want to be real about it. Look, the only way that Canelo Alvarez gets number one pound for pound, gets legendary status, is beating a guy like Sergey Kovalev, stepping up, snatching that belt. And remember, people said, oh, he wanted to fight him. He wanted to fight him before the Anthony Yard fight. See, this is what people forget. He made that offer before the Anthony Yard fight. He made that before, but Anthony Yard refused to take the step aside money. See, this is what these fanboys don't like. He refused to take it, D. These guys are cowards. They don't want to tell the truth. Now Canelo winning a belt in another division, moving up 2 weight classes, and snatching a belt, knocking out the champion, sitting world champion. Come on now, we know the truth. And I'm going to tell you what, salute to IOTBA Boxing Talk, Mr. 214, hold up, let the truth come to the power and the power come to the truth. If you don't know this man, go check him out. Subscribe, holla at him, IOTBA, salute Mr. 214. But
nothing but that fire. Nothing but that fire.
And I'm gonna tell you this. If Canelo Alvarez, put it like this, if Canelo Alvarez would have fought Demetrius Andre because he was only a week away from signing if Kovalev turned it down. If Kovalev said, no, I don't want to take the fight yet, I'll wait till next year. He was fighting Demetrius Andre. The deal was done. The deal was done. They was waiting to sign off. The deal was done. But you know what? No one would have given him credit. If he beats Jamal Charlo right now, he's not going to get credit. If he beats Demetrius Andre, he's not going to get credit. And now they're trying to take credit from Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. No matter who he beats, they're going to try to take the credit.
Right. And if he beats Charlo, you're just going to get some silly narrative like Charlo was paid to lose or something like that. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff you hear.
And hold on, D. I got to debunk this one quick narrative because Big L said something stupid. He said, AJ, dude, his day as champs are numbered. Let me explain this. In the heavyweight division, AJ is probably, in my opinion, D, you have your own opinion, but in my opinion, Anthony Joshua's the most well-rounded fighter in the heavyweight division. He showed he can box on the outside. He showed he can maintain a jab, but in the heavyweight division, you need more than boxing skills. You also need power because one shot can end the fight, as we all know. Anthony Joshua has elite power. He has boxing skills, and now he has the experience of losing and coming back and overcoming that. He has literally everything that you want, and he's fought more top 10 rated fighters than any current heavyweight today, period. Anthony Joshua is probably the best, I guess the way I'll put it is the best well-rounded heavyweight today.
Right. Now, we've definitely had our back and forths around about Anthony Joshua, but I'm all about calling it straight down the line and keeping it 100. When Nuke and I used to go back and forth about Anthony Joshua, it was prior to the Andy Ruiz fight, and a lot of things we used to go back and forth about. Joshua's corrected that. Nuke, if you remember when we used to go back and forth, I talked about the bulky muscle. I talked about his footwork. You know what I mean? I talked about all of the things that this man has corrected. If he corrects those things, how the hell can I not accept that he is the most round one? You know what I mean? Like, I keep it real, bro. What he showed us in that Ruiz fight, what he showed the true boxing minds, not these groupies and casuals that don't understand what they're looking at. But what he showed us, you can't argue that. You cannot argue what Nuke said. So I have no argument with that, bro. None at all.
And let's keep the news going because, these guys don't want the truth. And, we'll get to the next one. Andy Ruiz versus Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte came out and stated it's as simple as that. Whoever wants it can get it. He's the can man. Let's go. And he put Andy Ruiz Jr. graphic up there. Andy Ruiz Jr. coming off a loss to Anthony Joshua, former unified world champion, versus Dillian the body snatcher Whyte. I think that's a great fight. I think if both guys are in great shape, it's a 50-50 fight personally, because I think both of those guys bring something different to the table. And I think Dillian Whyte has an elite level left hook. That's what I believe. I think Dillian Whyte can put almost anybody. You got to think about it. Joseph Parker with an iron chin had never been put down before. And this is the same Joseph Parker that fought Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. Neither one put him down. Dillian Whyte put him down. That left hook is dangerous. And then you look at Andy Ruiz Jr., he's a dangerous opponent because he beat the unified champion Anthony Joshua. So you see that this fight would be an incredible fight. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then the winner of this fight could be number one for Deontay Wilder. I think that makes sense to make this fight. What do you think, D?
I think that I think two things about this. First, the WBC is trash, which we all know.
Yep.
And they're just throwing yet another obstacle in front of Dillian Whyte. I put a video up about this too. They got Wilder under protection, lock and key, safety vault protection. Okay. And so this is what this is all about. But with that being said, I do think this is a fantastic fight. I personally have to edge Andy Ruiz a little bit. And this is why I say that. Dillian Whyte has shown us to have problems with fighters that, pressure him. If you remember, he and Derek Chisora had wars, right? Yeah. It was the constant pressure that gave Dillian Whyte the issues. But here's the thing. Andy Ruiz's pressure is more calculated and better technique than a pressure like a Dillian Whyte, even such as Oscar Rivas. When he pressured Dillian Whyte, he gave him issues. That pressure that Andy Ruiz offers, along with that hand speed, that's why I have to favor Andy Ruiz. Let's not get it twisted. Because Andy Ruiz lost to Anthony Joshua, who the fuck else beat him? Pardon my friend, but who else beat him?
And I'll say this, D. I'll look at it like this. I think that's the reason why it's a great fight, because Andy Ruiz did something that nobody else did, and he was the only one that stepped up to take on the AJ fight. But then at the same time, Dillian Whyte, he's probably fought more top 10 opponents next to AJ. And Andy Ruiz doesn't have the resume that Dillian Whyte has, because I don't know if Andy Ruiz makes it through another Joseph Parker fight without another loss. I don't know if he makes it through, Oscar Rivas fight. Oscar Rivas can hit. A lot of people don't know these guys. A lot of people don't know how good Dillian Whyte really is and how dangerous that left hook is. I think that's a great fight. Either guy can win. It's a toss-up. I think that makes a lot of sense. Hold on. This guy, Big L, he just keeps taking L's today. He keeps taking L's. He says AJ was exposed to chin never improves. First of all, let me go ahead and just explain this. When Joshua fought, Andy Ruiz, he took the shots on the chin, stupid. He took the shots on the chin. It's the temple and the back of the head shot that dazed him. The temple shot dazed him and rocked him first, and then the one on the back of the dome. When he boxes straight up, doesn't bend down, doesn't come down like that. When he fought Andy Ruiz in a rematch, he got hit in the chin multiple times, never once hit the canvas. This proves a fanboy and a narrative from the true and unbiased.
Right, and Yeah, let me add on to that and further debunk that statement. Listen, man, not only did he get hit on the temple once in that first fight, he got hit on the temple behind the head and hit on the temple for the second time in that first fight. Again, I always say this. These guys make comments, but do you know what you're looking at? And Big L, I don't know you like that. Just your comments act like you don't. It seemed to me like you don't know what you're looking at. Well, pay attention. Go watch the fight again. Anthony Joshua kept that hand up, okay? He kept wrapping up and clinching to make sure he did not get hit with that temple shot again. That is called boxing. See, fanboys and groupies want to call that fighting scared. They want to call that, but these same fanboys and groupies didn't call that fighting scared when the great Floyd Mayweather used to do it, when the great Floyd Mayweather used to stay away from those shots. It wasn't scared then. It was beautiful boxing. It was skill. It was the a spectacular performance by Floyd Mayweather. Well, it was the same thing, you idiots. That's what's called boxing.
Well, here's the same thing. When you have the same guys that are saying this about AJ, they're the ones that are saying Canelo's ducking Demetrius Andrade. That's the same way Andrade fights. You know, boxing using his jab, smart technique, very good and calculated. So how can you put one over the other and then put AJ on the back burner? It makes no sense. Let's be honest and unbiased. And then you have this Bud Crawford hate. I got to get into the Bud Crawford hate, D. I got to do it. And to quote my brother, you know, ILTBA, we got to let the truth come to the power and the power come to the truth. And let me explain to you why. Because Bud Crawford is the truth at 147 pounds. And if Errol Spence Jr. decides to go in there and beat him and take that title, I would never doubt Errol Spence again. Never. I would give him all the credit in the world just for taking the fight. No matter what happens, he's a warrior if he takes that fight. But you know what the problem is? Is the people that were all screaming, oh, everybody's ducking Spence. Nobody wants to fight Spence. These guys are saying, oh, it's okay that nobody fights Crawford. What is this double standard that's going on? So it's okay to duck Spence, but it's not okay to duck Crawford. It's okay to to duck Crawford. What are we talking about here? These guys don't want the truth. Terence Bud Crawford got hit with a good shot, and if there was any other welterweight would have been in there, they would have stumbled from that same shot. Look at it like this. Look at it. Latterly rocked Errol Spence, and Sean Porter's been dropped by everybody from Adrian Broner, Errol Spence, and your Denis Ugas. So what are we talking about? Danny Garcia got hit with a good shot and rocked by Keith Thurman, but he backed off and didn't want to engage, and that's pretty much why he lost the fight. His lack of aggressiveness. You got to understand, these guys they know how to protect themselves at this level. Crawford fight with reckless abandonment in that fight. He could have won an easy 12-round unanimous decision, standing on the outside, picking this man apart, D.
Exactly. And one of the greatest fights of this decade, one of the greatest fights, is Victor Ortiz and Andre Berto. You go back and you watch that fight, both of these guys were dropped multiple times in the fight. And I can guarantee you it's going to be on the top 10, top 5 of the greatest fights of this decade. This is boxing, guys. When you get dropped and you get up and you put on a performance the way Crawford did after getting dropped, do you guys understand that after getting dropped, most guys lose? Especially, I don't know. See, this is the thing with these fanboys and groupies. The unknown is automatically equated to a bum or a low-level fighter. So because they didn't know anything about Calvi Velasquez, this is what we have. You know, oh, Terence Crawford should have did this. Terence Crawford should have did that. But y'all don't know a damn thing about Calvi Velasquez. And not only that, Calvi Velasquez had pop, extreme pop. Jamel Herring just did a video on that talking about the way Calvi Velasquez hit. Okay, so when
hold on. We got to go back. I think D's having some technical issues here. But look, let me go back on this. Big L states
respect. That's what that deserves. Nothing but respect. So respect it and shut up, you idiots.
Hold on, D. Big L came back with another idiotic comment and states you don't get dropped 4 times in a fight and can take a shot. That would have been Wilder. It would have been lights out. First of all, Deontay Wilder's never fought a puncher, bro. He's never fought a puncher. Luis Ortiz is not an elite level puncher. Tyson Fury is definitely not a puncher. He's fighting guys that cannot knock him out. That is the difference. Anthony Joshua was literally fighting the best. You talking about 4 times in one fight against a guy with blazing hand speed with a temple shot. This guy doesn't go back and analyze the fight. This guy don't understand the level of boxing. He doesn't understand the ins and outs. He simply watches a fight from a fanboy perspective and gets on his knees to please Andy Ruiz and these fanboys. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, and let me ask you this, Big L, and pay attention to the question: who has Wilder fought at the level of an Andy Ruiz with power? Pay attention to the question: who has Wilder fought at the level of Andy Ruiz with power? Because you can say Fury, yeah, I put Fury at a higher level than Andy Ruiz, but I said with power. No one, because Luis Ortiz, forget about it. Y'all guys try to pump Luis Ortiz up just so that it can make Wilder's victory seem so much better. But we can't pump Luis Ortiz up because he's another one. Who has he fought, bro? Who has he fought? Yeah, he put guys down, but a lot of guys put guys down, but it's the level of competition. Wilder has not even fought a top 5 heavyweight, bro. Thank you, Craig. Nobody. He has not fought a top 5 heavyweight yet outside of Tyson Fury. That's it. And he couldn't win that. Y'all can cry all about, the 13-second count, which I've debunked that multiple times. But he couldn't win the fight. As soon as he stepped up the level, he couldn't win the fight. Could you imagine if Fury had Ruiz's power? We wouldn't be talking about Wilder right now.
Hold on. Here's the worst part about it. You know, Deontay Wilder, the one step-up fight he had against Tyson Fury was even a cherry pick. And people say, how can you cherry pick a Tyson Fury? The dude was coming off the couch. The dude wasn't in shape.
407 pounds.
So the dude fought 2 tomato cans and jumped in with Wilder and schooled the dude. And then people are acting like Wilder's some beast. Having boxing skills and IQ matters. Yeah, he's gotten away with it all these times against all these tomato cans, but you're going to run into a guy that can punch and you're going to mess up. A guy that's not 8,000 years old like Luis Ortiz, who's an ancient alien, or a guy like, Tyson Fury coming off the couch. Now you're facing a Tyson Fury that's ready to go. And people are talking about, well, he got cut over the eye and the eye. It doesn't make a difference if you can't hit him. It doesn't make a difference if you can't hit him. How many cuts did Tyson Fury get in the first fight? Thank you. And this was a slower, more lethargic Tyson Fury. These guys don't want the truth. These guys love Deontay Wilder and think that he's the best boxer in the world, the guy that's fighting. This proves that you can fight all these guys in tomato cans, build up your resume, and have a misconception of who he is. These are casual fans because you don't know. This is the same Wilder that got rocked by Eric Molina. Imagine if AJ rocked him with one shot. He's going down. That's it. I don't believe Wilder could take the shot that Andy Ruiz took in that second fight because Wilder can't put on enough physical body mass to absorb that punishment. He simply can't do it. You see, he was rocked against Ortiz, rocked against Molina. These guys are not the punchers that Anthony Joshua is. Be honest and unbiased.
And I wanna dig into this one a little more. And this is all for our man Big L, just throwing out all of these comments. Big L, to take it a step further, Wilder's days are numbered. What are you talking about? AJ's days are numbered. Dude, Wilder's days are numbered. Not only, me personally, I don't think he gets past this Fury fight. But let's talk about him if he does get past this Fury fight. Wilder's being backed into a corner. Understand what's happening. You have now Andy Ruiz and Dillian Whyte knocking at the door for Wilder. Listen, the WBC can't protect him no more. They have already made Dillian Whyte, they reinstated him being mandatory. Even if they put this elimination match in front of Dillian Whyte, which would be Ruiz and Dillian Whyte, he has to fight one of these guys. One of those guys can knock him out. Are you kidding me?
Hold on.
One of those guys got popped.
Hold on, D. Let me. Richard Castaway is one of my good guys on here. He said, in my opinion, everyone is better than Wilder, but I don't think anyone can avoid that right hand for 12 rounds. The only problem with that assessment is, Richard, and I much respect to you, Richard, salute. The only thing I'll say is Anthony Joshua's plan is not to avoid the right for 12 rounds. Dillian Whyte's plan is not to avoid the right for 12 rounds. Adam Kwanaki's plan and Andy Ruiz's plan is not to avoid the right for 12 rounds. They know they need to stop this guy. They know that it needs to happen in the first 6 rounds, because after the first 5, 6 rounds, that's when Wilder finds his range and starts landing those shots. That's when you need to go for it early. They've already stated this. You don't need to avoid Wilder's right hand for 12 rounds. You just need to avoid it for 3 to 4, and you can get the victory if you got the power. I'm sorry, D, go for it, my brother.
Yeah, and I had to get in on that comment because it was somewhat contradictory, because he said no one can avoid that right hand for 12 rounds. And then so Wilder beats everyone but AJ. Well, if no one can avoid it, then you must be saying AJ can't avoid it either. Now, not only that, bro, you have to understand something. In that first fight with Tyson Fury, the first knockdown he took, Tyson Fury began to get cocky. He knew he was far up on the cards. He knew that Wilder couldn't do anything. He started to drop those hands and get cocky, play around in front of Wilder. He's not going to do that this next fight. And I wouldn't say that nobody can avoid that shot for 12 rounds. Fury could have avoided it if he would have stayed focused. And he's going to stay focused this next fight, bro. And Wilder, the thing with Wilder is, I've said this many times before, he's one knockout away from losing. Not a guy knocking him out, but him not getting that knockout, because we always see Wilder losing.
And my brother Jose Garza says Wilder has a good chin too. Against who? When has it been tested, Jose? That's my only question with Wilder. Who has tested his chin? Luis Ortiz? Luis Ortiz never beat a world champion. Who's his best win? Brian Jennings? He doesn't have a significant win. He doesn't have a significant win, and he doesn't have elite power. Show me a guy that really tested his chin. And Tyson Fury rocked him. He rocked him. And Tyson Fury's not a power puncher. Eric Molina's not a power puncher. And he's getting rocked by these guys. Come on now. Imagine when he steps up in class. We got to understand, Wilder has an asterisk by his name because he's getting older and older and older, and he's not fighting anybody with the power. Because I think that's why he didn't want the AJ fight right away. That's why he turned down 100 mil, because he knew that if he gets caught with one of those big shots early, he doesn't know how to get out of that situation.
Yep, and let me add on to that, because just like Nuke said, when you go up the level of competition and you get into fights with guys that have a better skill level, but they also hit hard, what else can they do? They can finish you. So there have been guys, while everybody's praising, I've said Wilder's durable and he has heart. I give you that. Yes, he has a decent chin. What's up, Remy? But at the same time, you have to understand this, man. When you get up and level with guys that have power and they can finish, Ruiz can finish, AJ can finish, Dillian Whyte can finish. They're not going to get lost like these lower level guys that have hurt Wilder, but they couldn't finish.
Hold on, D. Hold on. Oh, my God. This is officially Big L has ruled a casual. He said, dude, just like Crawford, Wilder's in the same position. Nobody wants to fight him. All the fighters on his own. That's why he hasn't fought. Guys, like you say, Fury, Miwatch, wouldn't go 5. Oh, see, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, are you blind, or are you just one of these guys that just blindly follows a fighter? Listen, everyone is ducking Crawford. Wilder is ducking everyone at the top 5, dude. That's the biggest difference right there. Crawford ain't ducking no smoke. He's trying to get all of the top 5 guys. Are you you're borderline here, bro? You're borderline. Listen, no, you're full-fledged casual with that statement. You have made yourself a full-fledged welcome to the casual crew, because you are in it, bro. Are you kidding me? Wilder is the one ducking.
D, this is why he earned his name, Big L, because that's what he's carrying, a big L. Only an idiot would say something like that. Only an idiot would say that. Wilder turned down $100 million for an AJ fight. Then came out after he beat Ruiz and said, I don't think the fight will ever happen. Anything he says from this point on is a lie, because he knows he doesn't want to fight AJ. Stop lying. We understand. AJ's a two-time unified champion, an Olympian, an icon, one of the faces of boxing. Come on. And you don't want to take the biggest fight of your career?
The only reason he wants to fight Fury again, and I don't know if he wants to, but the only reason he's fighting Fury again is because it's signed for. He signed for the rematch. Other than that, the WBC would have kept him away from Fury too. Because while all you guys are sitting there, I gave Fury heat. I put up a video about my guy giving him heat about this WWE and UFC nonsense. But one thing you got to understand, those guys are athletes. So it's not like Fury is not staying conditioned. He's not pulling the Dillian Whyte where he's unconditioned in between fights. He is in better shape than he was before the first. Do you understand that? Let me say it again. Better shape than he was in the first fight.
D, do me. I need the whole chat. Go ahead and put caskets in the chat for Big L because his boxing talk is dead. He has nothing else to say that's relevant. At this point, his boxing talk has been dead. He's been bodied. If you got the emoji on your phone, go ahead and put the casket in the chat. The guy has been bodied. And Whyte Rahman said, I haven't seen anybody test Wilder's body. Best way to remove his right hand like Canelo Notorious does. And I agree with that 100%. This is how you know Whyte knows what he's talking about when it comes to the technicalities of boxing. That's how you remove that right hand. And who better to do it than Tyson Fury, who has an elite level skill. He has the best pure boxing ability in the heavyweight division. He's a better boxer than Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua has the power and boxing that's going to cause Fury the trouble. That's why all of these matchups are exciting, and they probably all need rematches to really see who's the best.
Right. And shout out to Whyte too, man. Whyte's in my prediction league, and he's actually in the lead. So, you know, he knows boxing because he's predicting these fights the right way. See, Whyte can look at a boxing match and tell what's going on. Obviously, Big L can't. Big L don't have a clue what's going on in that ring. But speaking on what Whyte said, that's why I think Andy Ruiz gives Wilder a heck of a fight. And that's why I said Wilder's his days are numbered, because what does Andy Ruiz do? He's going to test you to the body, and we haven't seen that. Not only is he going to test you to the body, he's going to test you to the body with power. You see, with power. Another thing about Andy Ruiz, which he has proven, he has a chin. He has a good chin.
And here's the thing. When you see Deontay Wilder moved up in competition, even Luis Ortiz is probably one of the more credible opponents that he's fought, even though he's never fought a world champion and never beat a world champion. But he got up from multiple right hands. He got up from 3 right hands. Tyson Fury got up from 2 right hands. So the right hand that people say that no one can get up from, no one can stand, guys keep getting up when he moves up in competition. What happens when Ruiz, Joshua, Dillian Whyte, what happens if they get up and hit you with a hook, hit you with something you don't see? What happens then? What happens then when somebody gets up from a right hand and serves you with something that you can't stop? Look at Tyson Fury. When Tyson Fury got hit with the right hand at the end of their fight, D, he got up and hit Wilder with something that made him respected. What happens if AJ gets up and hit him with something? We've seen AJ get up from Ruiz. We've seen AJ get up from Klitschko. What makes you think that he couldn't get up from Wilder? What makes you think Dillian couldn't get up? He got up from Rivas. He got up from Joseph Parker. You see guys getting up. You see Ruiz get up from AJ. In the heavyweight division, guys gets up, and Wilder's power is not looking the same against tomato cans as he goes up in competition.
It's just not, man. And you know, going back to what I said about guys closing, Ruiz is going to close you out, man. Ruiz is going to close you out. It's not going to be no standing there against the ropes and the ref saving you, you know, and the doctor saving you, you know, because that's what happened in that Ortiz fight, whether you Wilder fanboys want to admit that. Y'all want to talk about robberies and long counts. The referee and the doctor saved Deontay Wilder. Ruiz ain't going to give him that chance, buddy. His hands are too fast. He'll put Wilder down and possibly put him out.
And I agree 100%. And salute to the entire UGC. If you haven't subscribed, haven't checked them out, go check them out. Go subscribe. Bringing the true media, the realest boxing talk. But the only thing I'll add to that, D, is Wilder hasn't fought 2 types of guys. He hasn't fought a power puncher, and he has not fought a guy that's a pressure fighter. Name one pressure fighter he's fought. Luis Ortiz likes to stand back, use his jab, and try to figure out how he's going to break you down. He hasn't fought somebody that's going to put relentless pressure on him round after round after round. Dominic Brazil is not that. Eric Molina is not that. Bermain Stavern is not that. Who has he fought? No one can name it. And look, let me turn my attention to Mikey Garcia. And, you know, Regis Prograis has fully come out and stated that he wants the Mikey Garcia fight in 2020. And Robert Garcia, I don't know if he's going to stick to this or not, but he's saying that Mikey's going to take one fight at 47, then jump down to 40. And if that's the case, then that's a great move for Mikey. But I think that the Mikey versus Prograis fight is a very close and interesting fight. What do you think about that fight, D? Mikey Garcia, Regis Prograis, if they get that done.
I think that's a great fight. I do. I think that there might be, and so here's an idea on this whole Mikey Garcia and the zone. I think the Prograis fight, I think, is a great fight. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that this is about him moving down. I think that he's going to take, I guess he's going to fight Vargas, right? Well, we know that Manny Pacquiao's, this is his last fight on his contract with the PBC. Now, guys, think about this. What's better than Mikey getting a fight with Manny for way more money? Because the PBC is not going to pay the money for a Mikey Pacquiao fight, to those two guys, the way the zone is going to pay them. The zone is going to pay them handsomely. Pacquiao's going to fight that last fight with the PBC, and he's going to come right over to the zone where Mikey is, and that's where their fight is going to happen. For way more money, probably be promoted way better because the zone is on 1,000 right now, and I think that that's the direction that's being taken right now. He'll fight Vargas, Pacquiao will fight his last fight, and then Pacquiao's going to go sign a deal with the zone, and they're going to make mega money off of their fight.
I'm going to tell you this. If that happens and Manny Pacquiao moves to the zone, PBC is officially done. Because you lose Manny Pacquiao, who else you putting on pay-per-view? Now you got to put Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia on pay-per-view, Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman on pay-per-view. Those fights don't even mean anything at this point. No one even cares about those fights unless he's fighting Bud Crawford. They have to make that Bud Crawford fight right away. Because if Manny goes to the zone, then how do you know they don't line Manny up for Bud Crawford in a big pay-per-view? That would be bigger than the Errol Spence fight at this point. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The zone could pretty much body the PBC at their own stupid game.
It's they're already on an extreme decline. And I'm not even going to say if. I'm going to say when. You know how I am with my predictions. I ain't changing this prediction. When Fury goes in there and beats Wilder, and then they take that WBC belt, think about this now. They're already on a decline. Their other star, Spence, is incapacitated right now. He's not in boxing. And, we have no clear indication of when he's coming back to boxing. So he's not a factor. Once Fury takes that belt from Wilder, he's not a factor. The only thing that makes Wilder a factor is the belt. Well, who do they have? Well, Manny's going to leave because, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Manny's going to leave because Floyd screwed him. His whole journey at the PBC was supposed to be to get a Floyd fight. You think he's going to re-sign with them? He's out of there.
And then what happens if Mikey doesn't face Jesse Vargas? Jesse Vargas wanted to fight Mikey Garcia at a catch weight. And so what he's trying to do is he's trying to get him up and maybe around 150 because he's trying to campaign at 154. And Mikey's already a small guy. So I don't know if he'd be willing to give up that weight. And there's a rumor going on, even to Jose Yepes, what if he fights Kell Brook? Kell Brook is on the Matchroom, the zone side. I think that fight might be a little too dangerous for Mikey. Even though Kell Brook's not the same fighter, I think he got enough, and his size is just too massive. I don't know if Mikey can beat a Kell Brook.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Mikey taking on too much danger at 147. And if they're talking about a catchweight, I'm with you on that too, dude. I don't think that that's safe either. Vargas can fight, you know what I mean? But he's just a bigger guy. Yeah, I'm with you on that, bro.
And then here's the thing about Vargas. Vargas couldn't bust a grape in a, he just couldn't do it. He doesn't have the power. He went toe-to-toe with Adrian Broner, a guy who didn't let his hands go and couldn't hurt him, couldn't move him back. And Mikey pushed Adrian Broner all the way back, had him running on his bicycle. And Vargas, he stood toe-to-toe with Vargas. That tells me that Vargas doesn't have that pop. I think Vargas get knocked out at 154 personally. And I think 147, he's having a hard time making 47. That's why he doesn't want to be at 47. But I just don't think Vargas has the power or the skills to compete at 154 and be successful. I think Mikey should beat Vargas at 147 just simply because Vargas doesn't have enough power to keep Mikey off of him.
Yeah, and that's just what's leading me toward that's really what's leading me toward the Pacquiao move over to the zone. Shout out to Ring IQ, man. He broke that down a lot. And I think that that's what's moving Pacquiao, going to move Pacquiao over there because, again, guys, look at these PBC cards, man, and look at the money that these guys are getting paid. They're not – the zone is killing them with the payments, bro. with what they're paying these guys. They're killing them, absolutely killing them, because the PBC's leaning on this pay-per-view model and it's dying. So these guys don't have the way they have to make the maximum dollar is to get a pay-per-view, but their pay-per-views suck. So, yeah, what the hell?
I'm going to steal a question from Raider from LA, but he was saying Ryan Garcia versus Jorge Linares is in the works for a deal. What do you think about that fight? I think Ryan Garcia could have a great coming out party against a guy like Jorge Linares, a guy who's experienced, who's going to give him some rounds, who's going to make it a little difficult. But ultimately, I see Ryan Garcia stopping Jorge Linares in that fight. I think that every time Jorge Linares has lost, he's gotten stopped multiple times. And so not only that, but he does have good experience, good ring IQ, but I think that he's just not the fighter, that he once was. He just recently got knocked out again. I think this is a perfect fight for Ryan Garcia's development.
I think so too. I think it's an excellent fight. I think that's a hell of a name for Ryan to have on his resume. And I agree with all your points, bro. And Linares is, as they say, getting a little long in the tooth. So, Ryan Garcia has fast hands, and he's proven he has the pop. So that's a great step up fight for him, man. Great name on his resume, and hopefully they continue to move this kid forward. I like Ryan Garcia. I mean, he's working with Reynoso and clearly getting better every single fight.
And then we got to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis. What do you think about Tank? We'll round off with Tank. We'll wrap this up with Tank and see what we say about Tank. What do you think about Tank Davis, his fight against Gamboa? What do you think about all that coming up, D?
Okay, first thing, easy word to describe Tank Davis and what he's doing. Now, listen, Tank Davis and what he's doing in boxing, trash. That's what I think about Tank Davis, trash. But let's talk about this Gamboa fight. I didn't approve of it, and I've never approved of it since it was announced, because there were many guys that Tank could have stepped up to 135 and fought that are more viable than old chinny Gamboa on his way out the door. Gamboa is being sent in that ring to be stopped by Tank. This is one of those fights. This is why I don't pay for these kind of fights and rarely even watch these kind of fights, because there's no suspense in it. We know that Tank's going to win this fight, and it means absolutely nothing. Tank does get a name on his resume, but the name that he gets on his resume is not a viable win. That's what people have to understand. I'm not giving him that much respect for fighting an old chinny Gamboa, especially with his next fight looking to be a Santa Cruz coming up. No, I'm done with that garbage, and this whole scene with Tank right now is pure garbage. That's what I think. Garbage.
I think the Gamboa is already done and washed. This is just another tune-up fight. It's a glorified tune-up fight to hype him. But we're going to touch on the fights this weekend, and we're going to call it a day. I'm going to get into Danny Jacobs versus Chavez Jr. I think that fight is a good step-up fight for Danny Jacobs, coming off a loss, moving up in weight. I think it makes a lot of sense. Chavez Jr. said that he beats all the champions at 168, so he's obviously on something. They need to drug test him again, because he's not beating anybody. I think Danny Jacobs simply will outclass him and turn him into a punching bag again. What do you think, D?
Yeah, agreed, bro. I don't see Chavez Jr. doing anything to Jacobs. And Danny Garcia, man, this is it's another, what I was just saying about the PBC fights, bro. No suspense. There's no suspense in it. As a boxing fan, I want to see a fight that's close to a pick'em fight. Hell, even a 60-40 fight. That guy can win, but you look at these two fights and, with Danny Jacobs, he's doing what he need to do. But you look at this Garcia fight, and I like Garcia. Everybody know that I advocated for him, but it's a cherry pick, and there's no suspense in this fight. It's even worse than a keep busy fight. It's a fight that shouldn't be happening. So Danny Garcia is going to win that fight. That's how I see it.
Seth Miller says, "Nuke, can you please debate BFTB boxing? I'm tired of his BS." My thing is, I'll put it like this. If BFTB steps in and wants to debate, we'll be more than happy to debate him right here, and I'll show him why I'm his landlord. But the fights this weekend, the other one, Harrison Charlo, how do you have it, D?
Surprisingly enough, and I know this might shock a lot of people, but I have Charlo coming back, and regaining his titles. My idea on it was, I understand what a lot of people are saying about the, Tony Harrison getting into Charlo's head at the press conference and all of that. I get that. My thing is, I just felt like Tony Harrison in that first fight gave us all Tony Harrison is going to give us. And he did a good job and won the fight that way. But that's all we're going to get out of Tony Harrison. Charlo made plenty of mistakes. That can be corrected. Charlo got undisciplined and started headhunting. Charlo only has to settle down and do a couple of things to fix the mistakes. Tony Harrison gave us all he could have, you know what I mean? And it's a fine line between getting in someone's head and awakening a sleeping giant. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just think that Charlo is going to be too passionate. I'm not advocating for Charlo. I just think that he wins this Harrison fight. I think he's going to come back and take it.
And look, that's the definition of unbiased if you believe Charlo wins it. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I really can't even really make a good prediction on it. I could see it going both ways. I could see Harrison coming in there making great improvements, using his footwork, taking more center of the ring, and using more head movement to get around Charlo and not getting hurt. But at the same time, I can see Charlo correcting some of those simple mistakes and working the body instead of head hunting. It's really just that one adjustment could slow him down all the way. But will he make that adjustment? I have no idea, because I haven't seen Charlo ever make a significant adjustment, because things have always went his way. So this will be a very telling fight on how good or bad one of these guys is, and also for their trainers. This is a big moment for Derrick James with Errol Spence out. Show me the type of trainer you say you are. Go earn it. And the best way to do it is invest in the body early, and that'll leave the head open.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. And that's what I was just saying. Like, minor adjustments Charlo have to make. But can he stay disciplined and do it? And can Derrick James as a trainer design the correct game plan to keep him focused? That's where a trainer comes in. And I haven't been as confident in Derrick James as I once was. I can't believe that he's even on the list for being trainer of the year yet again. But he's going to make more ground if Charlo can come back in there and regain his titles, because that's big for any champion. The same way I gave Anthony Joshua respect for losing his belts and coming back and regaining them, you have to give the same respect to Charlo if he can come back and regain his titles. And that will put a lot on Derrick James. So it's an interesting fight, man. I don't have any horse in that race. I don't give a damn if Harrison wins or Charlo wins, because if Charlo wins his belts back, it's safe to say he's not going to do much with them. He's not going to fight anybody after. He's just going to go do some more cherry picking. So it is what it is.
And one last thing, D, is, Jarrett Hurd, they've announced that he's coming back on the Danny Garcia undercard in January. Now, here's the interesting thing about Jarrett Hurd. He didn't want to go back and get his belt or anything like that. So it makes you wonder what he's doing. But he's not competing at 160 or 154. He's competing at a catch weight of 156, I believe. What is this guy doing? Can he just not make 154, but he doesn't want to compete at 160?
That's it. He's trash. He's trash, and in my opinion, his career is over, because what you have to do as Jarrett Hurd is rematch J-Rock, period. Anthony Joshua just gave you the blueprint. Get back in there and try to get your belt back. And even if you lose, it's more respectable than the garbage that you're doing now, because you were a champion. You were a champion you was pretty much defending those titles, bro. You lost it once, and that's the problem with these groupies and fanboys. They don't understand and don't want to give Anthony Joshua the credit for what he just did. He didn't take a tune-up. He didn't take no stay busy fight. He went right back to the fighter that he lost to. Right back. He ran that thing right back. But then y'all sit up here and y'all sit there and watch Jarrett Hurd do this kind of garbage. See? It's ridiculous, man.
And here's the problem that I have with Hurd. Hurd said that Danny Jacobs is tailor-made for his style when Danny Jacobs was a sitting champion at 160. And I was like, you're going to get your face punched in and stop within 6 rounds. This is why I always thought Jarrett Hurd was a hype job to a degree, is because he never rematched Idris Landy Lara. You should have rematched him because I thought that was a controversial fight. Then you get off and you took J-Rock and you thought, well, since he's been stopped before, he should be easy to beat. But the problem with J-Rock is he's a very good boxer, puncher. And the fact that J-Rock has improved leaps and bounds since he got stopped. He's one of those guys that has a very good work ethic. J-Rock, was a homeless kid at one point. So this guy knows the meaning of work ethic, trying to get to the top, trying to do better than what he is. Now he's a world champion. He got Jarrett Hurd doubting his abilities. Hurd is not going to win a title from J-Rock at 154, period. I just don't believe he has the skills to do it. J-Rock will stop him in a rematch, but I think Hurd moves up to 160, he's getting slaughtered. So if I'm Jarrett Hurd and I already know I'm beat because his skills are trash, then take the biggest payday payout you can get and then move on.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think that, it's nothing else to add or take away from that, bro. I agree.
All right. D, anything you want to add before we check out?
Yeah, one thing I want to add, subscribe to this channel right here, man. This is where the fire at, the truth. You got to subscribe to IBFP. If you're in that chat and you're not subscribed, even if you're a hater, subscribe because you can learn something. But thanks for having me on, Newt, man. Appreciate you always, bro.
Always. And me and D, we're going to be kicking it off with live Q&As all the time. So salute everybody. IBFP is your landlord. And for the love of sports,
let's talk about it. Peace out, everybody.